So how's everybody recovering at this point after 4 overtime?
Yeah, no, I mean, we started with some film from the Washington game, and it's just said to the group, how proud we were as a coaching staff. I think just the intent and the effort was just outstanding for all 8 quarters. Seems ridiculous saying that. So we had our heavy minutes players. We just did some player development at the start of practice, and then they were done for today. And then we went with 8 of our other rotational players and had a good high day. So got some good work in. Yeah, it's really interesting because I think Sanaya is actually a lot more skilled than what you necessarily see on the film. Like, we're having her do some things already, like stepping out to the 3-point line and learning how to stretch already and play in modern, with modern spacing. And she gets it. I think she actually moves really. She's a fluid mover, and I don't think I necessarily saw that on the film. So yeah, I think Sanaya will get a chance, probably in this next stretch of 10 games. So yeah, excited to keep getting a good look at her.
During training camp, we had a lot of players who were like, man, we got to learn a lot for the Sarama system. For a player like Sanaya, who, it's mid-season, she's already been through a different training camp. Does she get an abridged version of the playbook, or are you just throwing her in the deep end?
Yeah, more throwing her in the deep end. And then, Ben Pickman in our front office, he's done a really good job working with our coaching staff to create like a very interactive online tool where it's more like quiz-based as opposed to, I think I've always done it more like old school, like here's a video playbook, like I want to teach you through it. And I don't think it's that good for learning it. So we're going to have kind of Sanaya go through that and just kind of quiz and test herself. And I think then stuff like practice today, we just did a section at the end going through our main spacings, and she's got to learn the spacings first before we talk about plays. So she's getting there.
You're talking about how you were resting some of your heavy minutes players today. You guys are one of just a few teams that doesn't have anyone who plays more than 30 minutes. Is that something that was intentional by you and Brittany, who I know she's the one who kind of runs the rotation?
Yeah, exactly. And I think it's with the rotations, there are a few kind of big constraints. Brittany does an incredible job because I basically give her 2 constraints. Number 1, I don't want a single player to play more than 30. And then number 2, I want to avoid long stretches. Like the whole philosophy is you're playing for 4 or 5 minutes with maximum effort. You're going to empty your tank, and then you come to the bench knowing you've left everything out there on the floor. So it's very tough to build and the fact that we're playing 10, when you consider those 3 constraints, that's a very hard job Brittany has. But I think she's doing a great job, and we're experimenting within those boundaries. But for me, I'm not willing to be flexible on these things because it's such a huge part of my philosophy in terms of player health, number 1, and then number 2, to play with maximum intensity. I just don't think you can avoid, you can't go away from short stretches and not playing 10 to do that.
I know a lot of players, they just want to play, and some of them have that like alpha mentality. They just want to be out there scoring. Was it easy to get buy-in from the players?
Yeah, it's just continuous education. Even as a staff, like you see players like make shots and then we take SA out, and it's just education. Like there's no research on the hot hand. They've actually done research looking at it. There's no evidence behind it. So it's more, this is the why, this is why we're doing it. We actually did that, it was during training camp we did it. And it's helped, we're 6-2 now in clutch games after Washington. Would have been 7-1, which would have been even better. But our fourth court net is really good, and I think you don't have those 2 stats if it wasn't for the rotations.
At what point in the overtime in the game against Washington did you just realize you're just gonna have to throw all your stuff about wanting to play out the window? And like, was it like first overtime, the second overtime?
It was like the end of second where I was like, this could be another one and another one. So yeah. Low management unfortunately went out the window, but yeah.
Also kind of fortunate that happens, and then you've got another week off before
100%, yeah, and that was part of it. It was, if we had a game in 2 nights, might have had to do something different in the overtimes.
Can you describe just the value of that, piggybacking off of having a significant amount of time between games, and how you were able to manage whether they're on the court, whether they're doing side drills, things like that.
Yeah, no, it's great. I think the practices for us, I kind of said earlier in the season, the practice days are even more important for us because of what we feel we get out of them. So this is great. This is great for us. And I think, just going back to that game more specifically, I think what I was most encouraged about was the response from Chicago to respond the way we did. And, the defense was completely different. I think that's the level we've got to kind of hold ourselves accountable to moving forwards.
Yeah, I want to ask about Jordan playing her first minutes. It's the first game. When I went to her reintegrating her into the rotation, how would you manage her being under that development contract?
Yeah, so I wanted to get a look at it. I think number one, it was it's the defense Jordan brings, like picking up full court, a point of attack defense, and the pressure in the half court. Like just opposing ones can't get comfortable because she's there. She's just picking you up full, turning you, and I wanted to see how that would help our half-court defense. And then I also wanted to get a look at, putting a secondary handler in with the second unit.
Yeah.
I think the reason looking at lineup ratings, it's even having the first and second unit distinct. It's helped us in terms of, but I think you always feel like the first Chicago game, I think it was like 13-8 and it became 13-16, and it's like those ones stay out in your mind more, and then you forget ones like Seattle where we wouldn't have been in the game if it wasn't for the second unit. So it has kind of averaged out overall in the season, but I do feel like some of the struggles when we have struggled with the second unit, it's been turnovers. So that's why I wanted to play with a secondary hand. I get a look at that.
How can you manage somebody like Jordan under that development contract where she can't play she can only play a certain amount of games?
I think it's more, she had 2 games. She helped us a lot.
Yeah.
4 assists, no turnovers in that second game. We believe in Jordan. We know what she can do. And now it's a case of just staying ready, keep getting better with all days like this, or get better group who work out, every game day. Like, she's a huge part of that.